It is September 18th, 2016. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. Earlier, it was breaking news that Russia was asking for an emergency meeting over a U.S. coalition-led airstrike. So a little more information has came out about it now, and I figured I would get this out as a report from RT, and I'll put the link to this webpage in the description tab. U.S. is defending ISIS. Russia convenes UNSC meeting after U.S. coalition strike on Syrian army. Now, before we even get into this, before we dive into this, I want to remind people, it's probably a good idea to write this down or something somewhere so you don't forget. We all know who created ISIS. We all know who funds ISIS. We all know who trains ISIS. So, we have to remember that anytime we discuss anything related to ISIS or the nationality or nationalities of people that quote-unquote make up ISIS. So, because it's important, because a lot of people seem to forget that the moment they get on U.S. land or something. I don't understand it, but I don't have selective memory like that. I can pretty well stay focused. So anyway, on with the story. Moscow has called an urgent UN Security Council meeting after U.S.-led coalition hit Syrian forces, killing 62 soldiers and wounding 100 more. The Russian FM spokeswoman blasted Washington over the indiscriminate airstrike that she said serves the interest of ISIS terrorists. If previously we had suspicions that al-Nusra Front is protected this way, now, after today's airstrikes on the Syrian army, we come to a really terrifying conclusion for the entire world. The White House is defending IS. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova told Rossiya 24. I'm sure I got those way off. We demand a full and detailed explanation from Washington. That explanation must be given at the UN Security Council, she added. The Foreign Ministry has demanded full and detailed explanation from Washington over the incident in Deir ez-Zor, in which 62 Syrian troops were killed and over 100 injured. Moscow stressed that it is concerned by the U.S. airstrike targeting the Syrian army units, which has been destroying Islamic State, formerly ISIS-ISIL militants. The ministry added that the Russian side had never been notified of U.S. plans to carry out bombings in the Deir ez-Zor area. Again, I'm sure I'm getting these way wrong. I apologize. Immediately after the airstrike by coalition planes, Islamic State militants launched their offensive, said the chief of Russian Reconciliation Center in Syria, Lieutenant General Vladimir Savchenko. He added that the Russian Air Force intervened immediately to halt terrorist advances and have conducted at least 10 airstrikes on Islamist positions since 7 p.m. local time. U.S. coalition strikes have cleared the way for ISIS fighters to take over Deir ez-Zor city now, confirmed Syrian Minister of Defense Fahd Jassim al-Frij. Again, I'm having a hard time with these names. It is only because of Russian Air Force support that the offensive of the terrorist group was stopped. We request that the air support for the Syrian armed forces be continued by the Russian Air Force in order to destroy the terrorists. The Russian Foreign Ministry stressed that U.S. airstrikes against Syrian government forces jeopardized the Syrian ceasefire deal reached between Moscow and Washington on September 9. Earlier on Saturday, Russia Defense Ministry said that 4 strikes against Syrian positions have been delivered by U.S. coalition aircraft, 2 F-16 fighters and 2 A-10 support aircraft. The Syrian military called the bombing a serious and blatant aggression against Syrian forces and said that it is conclusive evidence that the U.S. and its allies support IS militants. U.S. Central Command later issued a statement saying that the U.S.-led coalition would not intentionally strike a known Syrian military unit. It promised to look into the incident. However, an unnamed U.S. military official told Reuters that he was pretty sure that the targets hit in U.S.-led coalition airstrike on Saturday had been Syrian forces. According to the official, the bombings in Deir ez-Zor were carried out using U.S. intelligence, which was being gathered for days. The U.S. attack stopped as soon as Russia notified the American side that they had been hitting the Syrian military, the source added. So that's what we have at this point. It's really crazy, to say the least, and it's something that we better watch very, very closely. Now, I want to tie in something else to this report. The only reason that you can hear my voice and the only reason that I can read this article is because at this point we have an internet that functions in a manner that allows that. Let's not forget that it's slated for October for that to possibly change. We really need to keep a close eye on everything, and if there comes a day you log on to the WatchmanNews.com, or try to anyway, or you go to YouTube and try to find our channel and we don't exist, that should be an extreme wake-up call.